So, Exeter Rider asked me to do a video with some running commentary on cornering. So this is my attempt at it. First of all, I've got to explain what I use. What we use in the IM is the system of motorcycle control, which is IPSGA. So IPSGA is information, position, speed, gear, acceleration. Information phase takes place the entire time. You're always assessing information, but the other ones, position, speed, gear and acceleration, come in that order and in that sequence. So based on the information you have seen, you have taken and you have used, you choose a position first, and you position for safety first, then stability, and vision last of all. So you never position for vision first, you position for vision last. So the first thing you consider is it safe for me to be in this position? Then if all positions are equal in terms of safety, you then say which one is going to aid my stability, i.e. where can I keep my bike upright and there aren't any bumps, there aren't any adverse cambers, rutted bits of road, bits of dirt spilled. Yeah? And if all of that is the same, then you can position for vision, but only after you've considered safety and stability. A lot of people go for vision first and compromise their safety or the stability, but you always put vision last. Then based on the position that you've taken, if you had to sacrifice your vision for safety, you have less vision. And the speed that you choose must be to be able to stop in the distance that you can see to be clear on your side of the road where you have full view of the surface. So if you're coming up to a hump bridge, for example, your limit point where you must be able to stop is the top of that bridge till you actually reach it and you can see beyond it. Then based on your speed, you choose the right gear. There are only two gears on the motorcycle, the right gear and the wrong gear. The right gear is the one that's flexible, which means you can roll on to accelerate and you can roll off to decelerate. And then obviously acceleration comes last, so after you've done all of that, you accelerate through the hazard. How do you accelerate through a bend? You keep some positive acceleration throughout to balance out the fact that you're cornering, and the cornering is going to slow you down because you're going on the smaller radius of your tire. So ideally you want to take your speed before you tip into the corner, take your gear before you tip into the corner, and then all you're doing is you're controlling everything with the throttle hand by accelerating. And if you need to tighten the radius, you just roll off a little bit and that will make you tip in a little bit more. And if you want to straighten up, you just roll on the throttle and that will stand your bike up. Okay, maybe I can actually do this if all the mist and stuff is gone. So here, information, we've got a left hand bend, there are no hazards on either side, so I can't see any junctions. There's a junction there now, so you obviously want to position for safety. You don't want to be close to that junction, even though there's a right hander coming up. Somebody could emerge from that junction, so now I'm taking this position here for safety first, compromising the vision slightly, but the safety always comes first. Okay, so now here, no hazards to the left, so I take a position here for vision. Stability is the same, the road is quite good surface. If there were lots of puddles and mud and bits of bark and whatever, I might have taken a different position. Okay, now, warning sign, chevrons. It must be quite a steep bend, or quite a sharp bend. So now I'm going to actually change gear to give me a more flexible gear, maintaining the same speed, and I can roll off. And I'm positioning here for safety, so I'm staying away from the white line because people might be crossing it coming the other way. Okay, I might try and do an overtake here, so let's get close to this car and look for an opportunity after this bend and see if there's a nice opportunity to overtake here. I don't have enough vision, so I'm going to drop back a little bit. There's a bend to the left. There's quite long lines here in the middle, which means there's a hazard coming up. More paint, more pain. So if it's short lines with big gaps, it's normal. If it's long lines with short gaps, that means there's a hazard coming up. So maybe that's just the way that they've painted this entire road. because they've got long lines everywhere with just studs in between. Anyway, so I can see there's a right-hander followed by a left-hander. So here I'm positioning for vision here, get good vision. I straight away onto the line for the second bend. So I've got good vision all around the corner. The vision extends my limit point. So the more vision I have, the further away my limit point is, which means I can actually have a higher speed. That's why the position comes before the speed. Position dictates the speed, not the other way around, and the speed dictates the gear, not the other way around. I hope that makes sense. It's a lot to try to explain in a short video, so I'm just laying out all that is, but I do encourage you to go and actually seek some training and do one-to-one work and actually understand all of the theory behind it. I'm going to lose my buddies. I'm going to switch off the video here for a second. We'll pick it up in a minute. Okay, got rid of him. So now it's just us and the road. Okay, so I've got quite a long vision all the way up to that bend entrance over there, left-hand bend. No junctions on it as far as I can see. All the junctions were before, so I'm choosing for vision here, extending my vision, staying away from cars coming the other way because they're quite close to the line. Arrow saying to go left because there's a solid white line coming up, and a left-hand bend thanks to the chevrons. So I can see that. I'm choosing a gear that's going to be a bit more flexible. So down into second and through here. Again, chevrons indicating quite a sharp bend. So he's slowing down through it by just rolling off. Avoiding the wet manhole cover. And then we can accelerate, chase the limit point. As the limit point moves away from you, you can then increase your speed. Left hand, look, this limit point's kind of staying there, but now it's starting to move away, so I can open up and chase it and accelerate, and keep chasing it, keep chasing it, keep chasing it, and now we can choose any position. More to the left hand side here, it's position 1, because it's a bend to the right hand side. We can just relax and maintain that. Limit point is kind of coming close because of the hump here, so you roll off a little bit and we just flow it that way. So that's usually what I'm looking at. I'm looking to see if there's any hazards on either side, left or right. Avoid them. Position for safety first, stability second, vision last of all. The vision dictates the speed that you can be at, because you have to be able to stop within that gap. The speed dictates the gear. I was actually in a bit too high a gear there. Normally would have been in third, but the gear that you're going to choose is going to depend on your bike, on the engine characteristics and performance characteristics. So an inline 4 is very different to a parallel twin, it's very different to a V-twin or a boxer engine or a triple. You have to learn your own bike and how it performs. We're going to give away ahead. Hopefully somebody's waiting for me to mark the corner. Yep. Hello, Brian. Brian here ahead of me has probably forgotten more about motorcycling than I'll ever learn. So we'll watch how he does it. Hopefully he won't mind me including this in the video. And here we go, national speed limit. And we're off. Now he's keeping a 2-second gap at least to the car in front, maybe even longer because the road's a bit wet today. There's a lot of traffic coming up, so there's no point going up and looking for an overtake. It's not going to be on because of all the cars coming over. And chap ahead is doing 50, we're in the 60, so we're overtaking him with a differential of 10 miles an hour. And now there's a 30 coming up anyway, so we might as well just chill out. Anyway, that's what I normally do for cornering. As I said, information, take all the information you can about the corner, the tightness, are there any hazards on it, what are the lines, dividing lines in the middle, are they long white lines with small gaps, or are they short white lines with big gaps? Long lines means there's a hazard or some kind of danger. Use the chevrons, use the smells. You know, today on a few occasions I could smell a lot of fertilizer and manure in the field, so you can expect machinery to be around the corner, so you anticipate and you act accordingly. Then based on the information that you have, you choose your position always for, as I said, safety first, stability second, vision third, only after everything else has been taken care of. Based on the position, you then have to assess your vision, at which point, you know, how long do you have before you have to be able to stop. So no hazards here, so I'm positioning for vision quite close to the edge here, and that just extends my vision. There's no point anymore because the road is straightened up. So now I know that there's a junction to the right, so I don't want to be too far out there for safety, but I can choose a position here that extends my view a little bit that way, and the next one's going to be to the right, so I'm immediately, as soon as possible, taking my position here to assess the surface. Again, no issues with safety or stability. There is a little junction here, so I just move away from it a little bit. Another junction over there ahead. So again, I just position away from it a little bit. So my vision's now a little bit shorter than it would be if I had been over here, but I choose it for safety first. Quite a wide road, big lorry coming up, so you position, you take again for stability. It's going to blow quite a lot of air, so move away from that to keep yourself more stable. So that's the safety and the stability. The lorry, compromise your vision for the stability, and then you just adjust your speed accordingly. So one thing follows the other. I hope that all makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, if you have any follow-ups, and I'll see what I can do. Well, thank you very much for watching Exeter Rider. I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know. Leave a comment. Catch you later. Move out.